Then our daughter was born. When she was a baby, I liked to listen to a particular song by Echo and the Bunnymen on the weekend and watch her kick her legs up in the air. By the time she was 5, I knew she'd never be pretty. She had all of my looks. She was stout, solidly built, dark as me or darker, with thick brows and small, curious eyes that peered out of her face like a badger's. We called her Dee. Her name was Devaya. You ever think that you and me just sitting here at this table was only going to be relevant to us? No. It was Sunday morning, and she was smacking down a glass of milk. She was a big eater, and she always ate the rubbish. I mean, when I die, and when you die, this moment's not going to matter to anybody. No one else is here. Mom's here. Mom's in the other room. It don't matter to me. No, it won't. You'll be dead. No, I won't. Then she took out her 101 wacky summer camp jokes book and read some jokes around. She learned to read very early. At 6, she was working through Wuthering Heights. I was afraid that her idea of the world of adults was getting skewed, but I just figured she'd sort it out eventually. I was sent home from summer camp because of poor eyesight. She had a deadpan delivery. I was the only camper who didn't see the skunk. I didn't laugh, so she tried another one. She was sitting at the kitchen table and swinging her legs out to sea while I drank my coffee. What goes snap, crackle, squeak? I don't know what. Mice Krispies! What does that have to do with summer camp? That beats me. I've never been to summer camp. I guess you can eat Rice Krispies at summer camp. Yeah, I guess so. Camp Woodland put on a show with a happy ending. Everyone was glad when it was all over. Wait, what? A happy ending? No. Let me have that book. It was written by some asshole named Melvin Berger. I showed it to my wife. She was in the bedroom reading a book of Hindi poems. It made her laugh. That's a good one, she said. Hey, it's not a good one. Don't be so serious. Do you even know what a happy ending is? Oh. I know what a happy ending is. I said something about the way we were positioned, lying on her back with a book and me very close to her, but not touching her. Reminded me of when she was pregnant with me. I put my hand on her belly for the first time. Felt her kicking. My wife told me that her senses sharpened. You know, it's the strangest thing. I can smell everything. I imagine this is what the world is like for a dog. even though the window's closed, I can smell the rain on the street, the wet grass and dirt. She told me I smelled like 8 different things. I listed them all. The last one being nervousness. What does nervousness smell like? Sort of a sour smell. It's in your sweat, the smell. You're bluffing. You're nervous. She looked at me with an expression of pity and love. I'm nervous. But pregnancy had given her a calm radiance of female Buddha. I didn't believe her. What are we going to go tell people? Tell her about what? Sex, death, happy endings. Oh, I don't know, she said. Everything, I suppose. In high school, I was a wrestler. I'm pretty good at it, too. At some point, I just gave it on up. I remember very vividly the smell of sweat and deodorant and powder we wore on our shorts to keep from chafing. Closer down to the mat was the odor of feet, the sticky plastic of the mat, too. I loved that smell because I didn't allow myself to smell it unless I won. There's this particular match I think of often. It's one of the last matches I had before I gave up on wrestling. Before a match, I would try to make my mind cool and blank. I needed to feel no emotion towards my opponent. I thought of myself as a soldier in some ways. I listened to the voice of my coach. He understood me. He knew it was not the things he said to me, but the sound of his voice. Now, he used his voice to talk to me like the way one would talk to a child or an animal, with the attention to pitch and tone. My opponent and I were in the same competition, but he had this immense presence, the presence of a bull. He was like a dark skin. He was dark skinned like me, similarly tropical. At first, I avoided eye contact with him because I was struggling to clear that space in my mind. Each time he met my eyes, I felt as though I brushed up against a prickly thing, like the spine of a fish. But I didn't want to seem weak or frightened, so after a while, I began to use eyes. I fixed his face in my mind, that same flat contour of South Indian nostril, purple-brown lips. His head was shaped like mine, and his ears stuck out almost sweetly. And when his mouth opened, I could see his teeth, slightly yellow, irregularly shaped, shining against his dark skin. Close enough that I could see pores in his face. And then, I began to make all sorts of novice mistakes. I gave him too much ground when I should have been on the aggressive. Staying up high, though my true strength is in my legs. All of a sudden, he caught me in his arms, stood behind me, hugging the breath out of my stomach and my chest. The first time I felt pure panic. And then another emotion came through. The emotion was almost a sound I heard ringing in my ears. I lay back in my opponent's arms. I woke up to the sound of the phone ringing. He was at a sleepover. It was too late in the night for good news, so I raced to the phone. Hello? Dad? Edie? Hi, Dad. What's the matter? What's wrong? You okay, honey? My eyes were beginning to adjust. I took the phone from me to the bedroom where the light from the street poured into the windows, and I sat down on the bed. I said to my wife, who rubbed her eyes and my hands, looked for a moment like a child. I took her warm foot in my hand. Will you come get me? Yeah, sure. What happened? Is my bed still there? Of course your bed is still there. Did something happen? But I couldn't get an answer out of her. I'd almost never heard her frightened before. It was her first sleepover. I covered the mouth of the phone with my hand and explained the situation to my wife, who said that we'd go get her in the morning. I told you she was too little for a sleepover. It had stopped raining, and I began to put on my pants and shoes. Honey, it's 2 in the morning. Take a taxi at least. But I walked. It was warmer outside than I expected. The sky was kind of a brisky purple that it was in the early mornings, before rain, almost red, kind of an eerie glow. After I crossed Valencia, the streets were empty. As a young man, I'd walk up this before dawn in the city streets when I couldn't sleep. People told me it was dangerous, but I saw all sorts of things. I like to stand at the corner and watch traffic lights change, even though there were no cars. I was the last man on earth. Lights would still change, but I waited my turn. Dee was sitting on the top step leading to her friend's apartment with her backpack on. She was wearing yellow pants and a pink sweatshirt she had outgrown but still insisted on wearing. Some years ago, it was a ratty lace bonnet she had insisted on, which got grayer and grayer as the weeks went on. It was disgusting. But there was no point in trying to reason with her. What the heck are you doing, Lou? I said. It was strange to see her there. See her tilted face down towards the light washed over her. Nobody will have this picture of her, for it will die with me. Not her mother, not the man who's going to take her away. My daughter's brown face in the light from the street. Even up high, the glitter in her black eyes. I didn't want to wake anybody up. Come down from there. She climbed down the steps very carefully, holding on to the ceiling. We began to walk. Are you tired? Mm-mm. She held my hand out of habit, her other arm swinging free. She was somewhere between knee and waist. Growing quick, though, I expected even in her adult stage she'd be pretty close to the crown. So, what happened? You scared of something? Did you ever fight? I thought you were going to give my bed away. That's absurd. You would never give your bed away. Well, that's what I thought. The two of us waited for lunch, even though there was nobody coming. She was a law-abiding citizen, just like her old man. All the neighborhood cats would come out, and the shy ones would scare away as if they saw us during the daytime. But at night, they were free, and they hissed if we got too close. You ever feel sad when you go to the library? Do you? Yeah. I feel like there are just too many books and I will never ever be able to read them all. Well, a lot of those books aren't even good. They're like cookbooks and books on computer programming. Oh, so you don't feel sad? Well, sometimes I do. Me too. I've been walking quickly. She lagged a little behind me, so I slowed. It's a great pleasure to watch her move. She gathered her hands in a fist and marched like a Midwestern woman on a weight loss program. Why were you worried you were going to give your bed away? It was a question she asked frequently and never seemed satisfied with an answer, so I just shrugged. I don't know. Some friends sleep outside, some friends sleep inside. But we would never give your pet away. I know you wouldn't. What if Mom wanted to? Mom knows that your bed is your bed. Even when you're not using it, right? Okay. Sometimes I couldn't read her. She was looking up at me as she walked, not even looking at the ground. She walked so solidly that I was never worried. Not from the time she wobbled out her first steps. Dee, I want to tell you something. What? No, you can't tell your mom I told you this. Why not? I don't know. I just don't think she would think you would understand. I do think you would understand, though. You had an older brother. I do? Where is he? He died before he was born. Well, what kind of person was he? I don't know. I looked down at her. I could see the thought of a brother moving around in her brain. Still, I pushed her. His brain wasn't fully formed, and so he died. Died. Like all those people in Japan. Yeah, kind of like that. We crossed Valencia Street. Strange press of people, because the bars were all closing, and they seemed so sorry to see this little girl run around fearless among them. Drunk people have their own logic, I suppose. I lifted her up. It was that old myth. Krishna's father carrying baby Krishna on his shoulders, the water rising to touch the child's feet. I held on to her shins, her feet knocking against my chest. She wrapped her arms around my neck and leaned forward so her chest was against my head. And then we crossed Valencia, and the streets were empty. Dad, what happened to all those people in Japan? They died, honey. I know, I mean, what happened to them? Well, they drowned, or something fell on them, or maybe some of them had heart attacks. But what happened? She was on the edge of it. I held on to her, my shoulders ached. Well, I don't know. You tell me what happened. I don't know. The hill up to our house is pretty steep. Can I put you down? Okay. I knelt so she can get down. I thought of her brother. For a moment, I could see him so clearly, just standing beside her on the sidewalk. He had the face of that high school wrestler I surrendered to, which is to say my own face. His arms hung down at his sides. It was with a terrific anger and love he had wrestled me all those years ago. To be trotted alongside me. And then we were home. lifted her and took her to bed, took off her shoes and socks and put on her night tie that was still in her backpack with a toothbrush and her joke book and her copy of Wuthering Heights. I sat in the dark with her in that tiny room until she fell asleep, which wasn't very long. The night air kept me awake. Now here in this warm house, I felt old. I felt sleepy. I felt sleep began to grab hold of me as I imagined death would, gently around the waist. For a moment, I was sorry. And then I lay back